I just said hi to the chat. Do you want to say hi to the chat too? Say hi, chat. You want to say hi? No, I know it doesn't look like nobody's. Do you also want to say hi? Say hi, Jupiter. Can't see me doing nothing, just like kids, huh? Let me put them outside. They probably need to go outside. You go pee pee? Go pee pee. Welcome. How has your week been? It's Friday. Hope you guys had a great week. I did. And I have notes for you guys on this Chisme. Okay, I went down a rabbit hole this whole week, and TikTok and YouTube knows that I like to hear Chisme while I'm working. So, like all week, I've been getting some wild stories to share with you guys, but I also have things to do. So, I figured we could do it together. It is my lunchtime, and you know, working moms, you got tasks to do. So I gotta make a karate gym bag for my daughter, and then the other one needs stickers for her class. Oh, and then one of them needs she needs jelly beans for her class. But I was like, why get some regular jelly beans when you can get some of those mystery jelly beans? You know, the ones that come with like vomit or dirty Band-Aid or fish. So I got some of those for her. Let me fix my chat so I can see you guys. Welcome in, Diane, Alina. So I'm gonna, because I know they're gonna be eating these Jelly Ranchers, right? So I know these kids are gonna grab them and then they're gonna do their task and then they're gonna eat the Jelly Ranchers. So I was like, I'm gonna mess with them and just grab the Jelly Ranchers. I keep saying Jelly Ranchers. I'm gonna grab the jelly beans and we'll send them over to them. It's gonna be hilarious. I'm not gonna say anything until after, and I'll be like, "Hey, so how did that go? How did the project go?" And see if like anybody got something like really gross. It's gonna be funny. I'll tell you guys how it goes. Where is my chart? I let these kids borrow my computer to do their homework. They never charge it. We all know we got limited time here, so. Where did she leave it? Oh my god, where did she leave it? Wonderful. Anyways, don't mind the disorder. I have children. Shit happens. But I am in their living room right now. And, you know, they're not very organized. So, since we can't do the work because the computer's dead and I can't find the charger, let's have some snacks and have some Chisme, okay? Give me a second. Be patient with me. Be patient. I had plans. They had to deviate. So let's have a couple snacks and talk about this Chisme because it's good. I went down this rabbit hole, right? And oh shit, there ain't nothing. Oh yes. I gotta place an order for some groceries. So I went down this rabbit hole with what the hell? Don't mind my phone. What happened? Is this thing broken? I think it's broken. Hey Gina, welcome in. Gina, how are you doing? Any Halloween things this year? So many. So the city of Phoenix, I think it was, reached out to me and they were like, hey, we know you have a business. I mean, I haven't really had a business in like years now, but they were offering for me to do like a little stand in their festival that they're gonna have. So I might do that. We'll see. And then there's gonna be like, you know, Oogie Boogie Bash. So we're gonna be live at Oogie Boogie Bash. There's like a lot of things coming up. Parties, events. We're gonna, you know how we do it. We're gonna use every single cosplay we have, and I have a lot. So it's gonna be a busy Halloween season, and I'm gonna do my very best to bring you guys along so you guys can see it. But we're gonna be snacking today because we didn't plan to eat. I'm just gonna do stuff. Anyways, hey Jean, I was just gonna charge my phone, but I always have time for the Chisme. I'm so happy you do because this is juicy. This chisme is juicy, okay? So I went down this rabbit hole because you know how I like to see weird facts, especially the ones in history, and I'm like, what the hell? So, have you guys heard about the human radiation experiments? Now, there's like an excessive amount out there. I don't know why the government and just people in general back in the 1900s, like it was a long time ago, in the 1900s, were obsessed with radiation and nuclear science and stuff like that. Anyways, although it can do good, we all know radiation is not good for the human body. You know, it does so much effects. Like it does, the side effects are horrible. Anyways, these specific experiments we're talking about were held from 1944 to 1974. Okay. And they were held at the Vanderbilt University in Nashville. Okay. So in this study, there was 829 women that were given radioactive iron vitamin drinks. Okay. Now, and they were given this as part of their regular treatment. They were pregnant. Okay. So these were 829 pregnant women. Okay. That were given radioactive iron drinks that were supposed to be just vitamin drinks. Okay. These women had no idea. These women had no idea that they were given radioactive like drinks. Okay. They didn't know that this was for their, they didn't know. Okay. It's like if you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, here, take these vitamins, they're prenatals, you're fine. If the baby's gonna be fine. That's what they weren't even told it was radioactive. They were just told they were vitamins. So right off the bat, this ain't good. Okay. We are not doing good. Right off the bat, they lied to the people, which obviously you shouldn't be doing that to anybody, especially like taking experimental drugs or experimental medicine and not letting them know is a big no-no. But so they were given these pills, and you might be thinking like, why? Like, what were they studying? What was this for, right? So they were trying to see how fast the radioiodine crossed the placenta into the baby, like how fast the baby would absorb this, which is messed up because it insinuates that they already sort of knew that they shouldn't be doing this. They wanted to see how fast it would affect the child. They were like just experimenting with these children. They knew it was bad. Let's be honest. They knew it's bad. Can I confirm that? No. But based on what I read, yeah, they sort of knew. So this was held there. The women had all kinds of skin diseases and ailments, cancer, blood disorders, and these were like not common everyday cancers or disorders that they were getting. These were like wild, off the wall, aggressive things that were happening to their body. They're like, why is this happening, right? So, hey Cherokee, welcome in. So the children that were carried during this experiment, they died. Unfortunately, they passed away. I mean, we all know what happens when you take radiation to babies, you know, especially when they're in the placenta and they're still being cooked up, you know, like they're still being made. So the horrible part is that most of these babies, if they weren't stillborn and they made it to be born, they got some very rare, very aggressive cancers, and a lot of them, all of them, died ridiculously young. They didn't make it past, you know, toddler age. So it was sad. It was a horrible experiment that should have never happened. But this experiment is what got me into this like huge rabbit hole, and then it became a domino effect, and I ran into this one story, you guys. And I was like, I gotta tell them because it's wild. Ciao is hello in Italiano, if you don't know. I do. I know enough to get around in Italian. Like, andiamo al teatro. Oh. I also know how to order food in French. Just the important stuff, okay? Food, directions. Yes, human guinea pigs. So, This is what got me into this other story. This is separate from the human experiments. It's just sort of like the domino effect. I started with this, I ended up over here. So this is about a surrogate, and she's described, this woman is described as a venture capitalist. I have no idea what that title means, okay? But she makes good money, okay? She makes good money. And I'm Italian and don't speak the language. Well, if you know some Spanish shit, okay, it's pretty easy. I just never use it, so I only remembered the stuff I needed. Okay, so let me get started on the story because you guys are gonna trip, okay? So she's described as a venture capitalist, which means she has good money. Okay, she has good money. She should be pretty smart, okay? Now, you're gonna trip, you guys. She called the FBI 12 times on her surrogate, okay? This venture capitalist, which is supposed to be super smart, her name is B. I don't remember her first name, but her last name is B. B-I. B. That's what we're gonna call her, okay? She meets her husband when she's 36, and the husband was 28, okay? So there's a little bit of an age difference, but anyways, we're gonna move past that issue, okay? So according to him, the very first thing that she tells him on their date, first date and everything, she's like, hey, just so you know, my eggs have been frozen. I don't know about you guys. I know I have a conversation that's like very off the wall, very whatever, but I at least try not to be aggressively weird the very first time I meet people. Like I reserve that for like maybe the 5th time that I see you. But that seems like something you don't say on the very first day. Like, hey, I froze my eggs. It sounds weird, right? I don't know. Anyways, so that's the very first thing that she tells him, her husband. They continue, they get married. You know, apparently this didn't scare him off. He was like, okay, that's cool. Let's move on to dessert or something. Whatever. So she decides that she wants twins. But for you guys that are very familiar with surrogacy, it's very touchy. So if you have a risk of one thing, it like doubles when you're being a surrogate. If you have a risk of, I don't know, eclampsia or something, it can double in that. So there's just risks that are doubled up, and it's more riskier, especially if you have twins while you're being a surrogate. So the lady decides to hire 2 surrogates, okay? Now, both of these surrogates, she basically wants them to get pregnant and have the babies around the same time so they can be twins like that. Just a tad strange. Yes, Gina, very, very strange. So she gets these 2, and just so you know, these surrogates have to go through an extensive type of background to make sure that their health is good, and the health is disclosed to the parents, to the potential parents, but the parents never have to disclose their health history to the surrogates. In a way, it sort of makes sense. In another way, it doesn't. You'll see why later, okay? But she hires 2. We're gonna start talking about I don't remember her first name, but her last name is Smith, and we're gonna call her Smith, okay? So the surrogate Smith, she gets implanted with the only male embryo. That's what they implant in her, and it hits, you know? So she gets the only male embryo. They're hired through an agency, they have a contract. Everything is, I don't know, okay for the first 7 months of the pregnancy. You can't say it was perfect or anything, you know, it's a pregnancy, it's all different. But it's okay, it's good for the first 7 months. But so, except for, I'm so sorry, my ADHD is kicking in right now. I'm all over the place. So, she is B, the one, you know, the one of the main story. She starts posting for all these 7 months of Smith's pregnancy. She starts posting confidential medical information of Smith's on her Facebook. Okay, so she's putting out like, things that are private, like the medical exams, her health, like, oh yeah, Smith had this before, whatever, because she knows Smith's entire medical history. So B is posting this on her Facebook, which already is a breach of contract because according to their contract, she's not supposed to be releasing medical information to the world, but she's still doing it. She don't care. They bring it up, and she doesn't care. She just continues to violate the contract, which is, not everybody wants to share their whole entire medical history. I personally don't give a shit for me, but well, there's some stuff I wouldn't want to share, TMI, but still. She's breaching. She doesn't care. She's whatever. We're at 7 months right now, right? So Smith goes in to the hospital because she thinks her water breaks, right? And the doctor says, no, your water's fine. It didn't break. You're good to go, right? So she tells the doctor to tell the agency, like, hey, this scare happened, whatever, so that the agency can tell B what happened, just to keep her informed, because obviously it's her baby. She should be telling her as a surrogate. So the doctors decide it's not that big of an importance. We're not going to tell the agency, so we're not going to tell the parents. And they don't inform them. They just simply don't inform them, which I feel like that was a bad call on the doctors, because you're going to see how this escalates, okay? From here, it just starts escalating. So about 10 days after that doctor's appointment, the doctor informed Smith that the baby was no longer alive. Okay. I hope I worded that correctly, because social medias are a little touchy now. So she tells her that the baby's no longer alive, and they got to inform the agency, and the agency's going to inform B. So Smith asks what happened. Turns out that the placenta, it was a placental abruption. For those of you who don't know, because I didn't know. So that means the placenta detached from the uterine wall, and the baby was not receiving any oxygen anymore. So it's basically the placenta was just floating in there and was not attached. Unfortunately, the baby wasn't getting oxygen, so the baby passed. So B is upset, obviously, because surrogacy is like an emotional thing, and people aren't doing it because just for the hell of it. They want these babies, they love, they care, they're excited. So B was reasonably upset. But then it turns out she wasn't upset for the right reasons, okay? She was upset at Smith, okay? As if Smith, if it was her fault or something, which unfortunately, she went 10 days prior to the doctor to get checked. She thought something was wrong. They should have caught it at that moment, but they didn't. So she's upset at B. B is so upset at Smith that she calls the FBI on Smith 12 times, okay? She hires a private investigator to follow Smith. I'm not quite sure what she was trying to obtain with that. I don't know. So I don't know, and I don't even know so then she doxes Smith on her web pages and everything. She doxes Smith, and she gives all of Smith's information, her photo, her contact info, her everything. Okay, not only was she sharing Smith's health information already, which was a breach of contract, now she's like doxing her. Smith was the one putting her body at risk. She was the one putting her body at risk. The nerve of B, exactly. So and you would think this is bad enough, right? She calls the FBI. She has a private investigator following her. She doxes Smith. This one really, really upset me, because then B sends a photo of the deceased baby, the stillborn baby, to Smith's 7-year-old son via text, I think. It doesn't specify how she sent it to him, but she sent Smith's 7-year-old son a photo of a deceased child. She sent another child this. That is not okay. That is beyond unacceptable. The trauma of this poor little baby, not okay. Okay, he's 7 years old. He should not be in any of this situation, okay? So this happens, right? B B then hire well, so she B then hires multiple psychics. Okay, she hires multiple psychics, which I don't understand this part. Why would you hire the psychics? What were they going to tell you? I don't know. But she hires the psychics, and supposedly all these all these psychics tell B that Smith purposely lost the baby. I would figure that would be criminal, Gina. I would. I mean, that's not acceptable to send to a child. But so these psychics tell B that Smith did it on purpose. That she doesn't have a son because Smith did this on purpose. I don't understand what these psychics were thinking, okay? If you're one of those fake psychics out there that are just pretending to be a medium or whatever, first off, not cool. Second of all, so wrong for you to blame the surrogate that she was doing it on purpose when obviously she went to the doctor and was proactive and everything trying to help. You don't become a surrogate because you don't want to help. Money is a little incentive, but you put your body out there to try to help others, right? Anyways, not cool. So these psychics basically fuel B's psychosis that's happening. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Don't quote me. I don't know. Oh my god, the girls' school's calling. Wrong timing. So then after all of this, B then uses all of the information she obtains, which I don't understand who would consider this logical or reasonable information to actually believe her. But she uses this information to get Smith fired from her jobs. She has multiple. Remember, she has a child to support, so she has multiple jobs, okay? She gets her fired from there. And then she somehow contacts, well, I know she had already her health information, but she contacts Smith's insurance to have her insurance claims denied. So not only is Smith now out of a job, she now has medical bills to pay for because B went and butted in where she shouldn't have and gave information that was I don't understand how this information worked. But now she has medical bills, she has no job, and she has the FBI calling her, trying to investigate this stuff. And to top it off, B went ahead and sued Smith. So now she has legal fees to deal with. Okay? Speechless. Speechless at this time. B is sounding like a straight star. B is sounding like she's having she needs help. Okay? So at this point, Smith is going through all of this. But you might be wondering, like, what about the other surrogate, right? Because she got two surrogates. What happened to the other surrogate? Well, this is how B describes. B describes that pregnancy with the other surrogate, which unfortunately I don't know her name. I don't think it was released. She describes that pregnancy with that surrogate as it was really well. That pregnancy was perfect, no issues, nothing like that. Okay? That's a straight up lie. B is completely lying because based on the information given about the other surrogate, that's not what happened. It was not an easy pregnancy. It was a rough pregnancy. So much so that the second surrogate had to get a hysterectomy, you guys. She can no longer have children because of this pregnancy. Okay, now this is where, remember how in the beginning I was like, the potential parents don't have to release their information if they don't want to? Well, they should have. They should have released it because you'll see the similarities between surrogate 1, Smith, and surrogate 2, okay? So there was an issue with the placenta with surrogate 2. Side note, the placenta is created from the fertilized egg. So the fertilized egg already has the sperm in it. It's ready to go. You put it into the placenta, all that. And it starts creating the placenta around the little huevito. Okay, we got that. So this placenta contains not the surrogate mom's DNA. this placenta is made out of and contains the DNA of the potential parents. Okay? Now, first surrogate, Smith, with placenta detached from the wall. Second surrogate, there was an issue with the placenta. We don't know exactly what the issue was, but do you see the similarities here? It was not an easy pregnancy. The second surrogate had to have a hysterectomy. I don't know about you guys, but if I'm trying to help somebody, I also don't want to lose anything with me, like I want to help you, but I don't want to risk my own body at it. I mean, she was, but I'm sure she didn't do this thinking I'm going to lose my ability to have children after this. So after this is all going down, there's, the lawsuits and whatever, there's investigations. It's found out that both B and her husband, their mothers, had issues with their placentas when they were pregnant with B and her husband. So those both mothers had issues already with their placenta. So DNA speaking, this should have been communicated, because it could have been an issue and a warning for the potential surrogates. Like, hey, you might have some issues with the placenta because it's a family history, it's their DNA. That wasn't communicated to them, okay, at all. So they already knew that they knew. I feel like they knew. I can't, for legal reasons, I guess. Allegedly, they knew. But so the second surrogate did give birth to the baby girl. She's a healthy baby girl, good to go, great. But during the labor, unfortunately, she had to get a hysterectomy. She lost her ability to have more children. So with Smith, she lost the baby and almost lost her life because of the situation. She's now being sued by B. Smith is being sued by B. From our understanding, the second surrogate is not being sued by B. But B had to file a restraining order so that B can stop doxing her on all her social medias. B keeps violating it, okay? She keeps violating it, just straight up. She's like, whatever, I'm telling the world all your information, which I don't think it's working to her favor. I don't think she's realized that it's not making her look good, especially because this healthy baby girl that she now has, thanks to the second surrogate, she's only been alive for a year, and they've already gone through 6 nannies, 6 babysitters, okay? I don't know about you, but it sort of shows maybe they're the issue. I don't know. But at this point, this chisme is juicy, and they're still going through court. They're still, I want to see where it goes. You guys can find all of this information and keep track of it if you're interested online. Oh gosh, it's been on the news. It's been everywhere. I'm sure if you put BI and then put like Smith surrogacy, it'll come up. You know how that goes. You can always find it if you look for it. But I wanted to share that with you guys because I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean you try to help somebody and now they're suing you? You nearly lose your life. The other person can't even reproduce anymore because of you. And you're still so ungrateful that you're going to sue them and dox them and harass their children. That's wild to me. That's wild. But let me know what you guys think on there. I know it was a quick little live. I was hoping to show you how to make stickers at home. But my computer's dead. So we'll do it next time. Anyways, thank you for stopping by. Please double tap that screen. It goes a long way on this world. And I'll see you guys hopefully during the weekend. I do have weekend plans. I want to bring you guys along. So love you. Have a good one. See you later, alligators.